Welcome to Chapter 14 of Stress Management, Creating a Healing Environment. We got a lot of slides in this chapter, so here we go. Okay, we're skipping the key points and objectives and questions and stuff again because they all basically tell you what we're about to talk about. So stress and environment. External environment, objects, conditions, and situations that surround us. And some aspects of that environment we perceive as annoying, distracting, uncomfortable, or stressful. Again, if you live in big cities, there's constant noise day and night, right? Especially if you grew up in rural areas and you moved to a place like New York, where you may be apartment buildings, so you hear all your neighbors, you hear the traffic on the streets, you hear sirens, you hear things, right? And again, that can be stressful and distracting to people, right? Again, some people can go from areas like that and they may be out in the woods and they hear nothing but crickets. And every time they hear things moving in the night, they think it's bears or something coming to get them. Again, that can be annoying, distracting, uncomfortable, stressful. So again, and I'm just focusing on sounds right now, but, visually, same thing. I know um, I've lived in many different places. I grew up in mountain areas, and I know you get used to when you're driving around, you drive around bends and go up and down and things like that. And I remember when I moved to West Texas, you could see in all directions all the time. And it's kind of weird, but being able to see nothing but blue sky, like when you get outside of the town and just see just flat plains, was a little weird. Um, it was just different, and I can understand when my friends from that area, they would come and they'd be driving on the highways that we have where everything's not flat and you can see everywhere. It was very stressful. People that come from small towns move to big cities, and driving on these major lane highways and freeways and stuff can be stressful, right? So, and those are all environmental factors. um, so types of environmental factors, some make headlines: tsunamis or terrorist attacks. Again, moving here to South Florida, I never dealt with hurricanes. And now that's a major thing. We're in hurricane season right now. It's one of those major things you got to be prepped and kind of think about, right? Again, in big cities, air pollution, noise, overcrowding can be issues. Technology is constant, stressor now. People are always checking their phones, checking their social media, and again, something that's supposed to be like like a kind of a time waster, distractor. People worry now. They post a picture. Oh, I hope enough people liked it. Things like that. It stresses people out. Individual perception. Perception is the important component of whether an environmental factor is stressful, right? So again, when I am out in nature, whether it's out in the Everglades or up in the mountains or the woods, I actually find it peaceful. I know people that are worried about everything around the corner when we're out in areas like that, constantly asking me questions, like, well, are there wolves here? Are they going to get us? Are there bears here? Are they going to, is there this? Is there that? What kind of snakes? Things like that. Um, yeah, when I spend a lot of time out in the ocean, same thing. Like, are you worried, like being out this far, you're going to get caught in a red tide, or are there sharks? Are they, again, um, perception. I'm not stressed out in those situations. I'm actually more at peace in those situations. On a surfboard, I'm out in the ocean. I'm more at peace, where other folks feel like something's going to come up and bite them, right? So it's the person's personal perception. Learned response in the environment. When we associate a specific environment with something painful in that environment, the two get linked. Dentists are well aware of this, right? Everybody's got some issue with dentists. And again, sometimes it's straight learned. You may have had great dentists and nobody's ever hurt your teeth. You've always get a good clean record, never had the drill or anything. But because you see it on TV and you hear about it from other folks, you develop a fear of going to the dentist. Again, why are most people afraid they're going to get bit by a shark in the ocean? They all saw Jaws, right? We all saw Jaws. I mean, I was that way when I first started going on the ocean. I've gotten over my fear, but again, we all saw Jaws when we were kids, right? And it scared us. We thought, you know, that sharks were just out there waiting to get us, right? Managing environmental stressors, take a proactive approach, reduce or eliminate the stressor. So again, you know, I mean, if you're afraid to go in the ocean, but you really, really want to go in the ocean and you got this conflict, I would say educate yourself. You know, if you're afraid of sharks, learn about them. To be honest, I'm one of those, like, I feel like I could be an expert on Shark Week now. Um, you know, it was one of those things that I was really interested in spending time in the ocean. Why I always wanted to go, and so what did I do? I started reading about, you know, the ocean. Started reading about sharks, all the different types of sharks. What's the likelihood of getting bit? Why would they bite you? And learning that they're not out to get you, and realizing that if you do get bit, it's usually by accident, and that the percentage chance of getting bit is very, 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 very slim. You know, that education led me to not be stressed when I'm out in the water. Um, there's a clear link between stressful environments and violence. Extent to which stress contributes to violence is hard to measure. Generally agreed that homicide and suicide may result from increased levels of stress. Again, you know, you think about it, if you live in areas where it's high stress by the people around you, that, you know, again, we see this with road rage. You know, this is when people get in fights on the road, or they try to run each other off the road because they're stressed out. You know, and it leads to violence, right? So we see this in many different stressful environments. Healing colors. So color has been an important part of healing for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians ascribed healing powers to various colors. In India, colors and specific meaning are associated to the 12 chakras, or energy centers of the body. Um, Again, there's a, you know, we even look at it, you know, like color spectrums, they talk about, like, you know, usually when you go into places for, like, to make a calm environment, they do soft greens or blues or bluish greens and things like that. It's supposed to be, you know, more calming effect when things are painted in those colors. Stark colors like bright red and yellow and things are supposed to be more like, kind of make you alert. Again, you'll see a lot of times in restaurants, they use reds, yellow, I think it's red, yellow, black, and like stark white, like, you know, like things like that. And the thought process is something with those colors make you hungry, right? So there's things where, like, we associate, you know, like the color of walls and stuff is supposed to, like, induce certain energies or feelings, right? And so again, a lot of restaurants, you'll notice that their signs are that way. You know, you look at McDonald's, you know, look at Burger King, look at, you know, they all have similar color schemes on their advertisements and in their stores, right? Um, Florence Nightingale believed that a healthy house had 5 essential characteristics: pure air, pure water, efficient drainage, cleanliness, and light. Again, dirty areas with bad draining and poor lighting is a recipe for poor health, is in a lot of areas, right? Healing environment is one in which individuals are supported and nurtured. Individuals feel calm, and health and well-being is promoted. Makes sense, right? So again, you know, when you feel like you can go someplace and you're supported and nurtured, it's a place where you feel calm and health and well-being are promoted, you're going to feel better, right? And your mind and body will be in an environment of healing. Again, color can raise or lower your stress and energy levels. Chromotherapy, specific discipline that uses colors to treat individuals who have certain disorders. Again, you know, talking about what we talked about before, light, form of electromagnetic energy that can have both positive and negative effects on living organisms. Shorter periods of daylight, as occur naturally in the winter, have been shown to trigger seasonal affective disorder, related to melatonin produced by the pineal glands. Again, even in offices, there's certain levels of light, and when you have the fluorescent bulbs like I have in this office, you know, it's I wish I either had a window or a little lamp or something in here. There's a certain amount that's good and a certain amount that's like abusive. I feel like the light I have in here is a bit abusive, but it is what it is. Scents. Some elderly people in Europe associate lavender with death. Lavender bags were used to keep linen sweet smelling and moth free. As bedridden person became sicker, the linen was changed more frequently and the smell of lavender became more prevalent. Therefore, when you smell it, you may feel like, oh, I'm about to die, right? Natural scent of pine is calming. Again, when you're up in the mountains, yeah, there's the pine smell. It is. I agree with that. Smell is analyzed in the limbic part of the brain, area associated with emotions. Not surprising that aroma can affect how we feel. Again, we get aromatherapy. Therapeutic use of essential oils can lower stress levels, essential oils versus synthetic products. Again, you know, whether you're into the essential oils or not, you know, there's, you don't have to use those. There's other, you know, smells and things that work just as well. So, and some people are all for them. Some people are like stark against them. There's other alternatives. Don't worry. Air quality, benefits of good, clean, and fresh air. Study in fresh air, reduce exposure to tobacco smoke. Remember pleasant scents. Again, man, you know, again, getting up in the mountains, just breathing fresh air feels different than what you're used to in the cities. Noise. Noise is among the most pervasive pollutants today. Negatively affects human health and well-being. Hearing loss, stress, sleep loss, distraction, loss of productivity, general reduction in quality of life, and opportunities for tranquility. I definitely have more trouble driving when I'm with my entire family. I got 4 kids, and I got 4, you know, all of them in the back sometimes. Dad, Mom, Dad, and I get distracted. You know, I'm more likely I'm probably going to get in a wreck when I got all of them versus when I'm driving by myself. It negatively affects my emotions as well. I drive more angry, right? Again, noise is measured in decibels. Again, this gives you an idea of the different decibels. So, you know, 0, softest sound a typical ear can hear. 10, just audible. You know, let's go about midway. You know, probably like in the 80s, alarm clock about 2 feet, loud music, average city traffic. When you get risk of injury, motorcycle at least 25 feet, jet 4 miles after takeoff, video arcade, loud factory, subway train, then get into injury, jackhammer at 3 feet, boombox, nearby thunderclap, rock concert, jet engines, at 100 feet away, jet engine nearby, amplified car stereo, firearms. Indoor pollution. U.S. Environmental Protection Agency has estimated that indoor air pollution is one of the top 5 environmental risks to public health. Indoor air may contain more pollutants at higher concentrations than outdoor air. Right? It doesn't, you don't have as much area for it to circulate and dissipate. The nose knows. Patients administered a pleasant scent during an MRI report lower levels of stress. Again, sometimes when you go into MRI facilities, I've seen this in some MRI and also X-ray areas where they'll have scented candles or other things in the room. You know, or not really candles that you light, but you know, like these different scent emission things. And again, that's probably to help try to lower the stress of having those procedures done. All right. Here today, gone tomorrow, as many as 1 in 4 college students have mild hearing loss. Could be the result of use of personal music devices, extended use of earbuds that deliver sound close to the eardrum. Perceived noisiness, subjective assessment of noise that combines the decibel level and the context in which the noise occurs. Quiet down. Typical levels of office noise can elevate epinephrine levels. Again, it's, you know, there's a certain amount of stress that comes with just being at your workplace, the amount of noise that's in there. So effects of noise pollution can disturb the nervous system, creating an increase in stress level. In relaxing sounds, white noise helps to drown out other sounds that may be distracting and stressful, right? Sometimes, you know, like maybe just playing a little bit of background music or white noise, or just something that gets you out of hearing the other noises that raise your stress hormones, right? Temperature, heat hypothesis. Hot temperatures can increase aggressive motives and behaviors. I agree. And when I'm hot, I ain't got no time for nobody and no nonsense. That's just me. Higher rates of aggression by people who are hot relative to people who are cooler. Yeah, I 100% agree with that. There's 2.6% more murders and assaults in the US during the summer than other seasons of the year. Hot-headed. Hot summers produce a bigger increase in violence than cooler summers, right? So again, you know, we need some cooler weather. It's been hot here lately. Taking control of your surroundings, review and reflect on how sensory inputs such as sights, sounds, smells contribute to your daily quality of life. Identify aspects of your environment that either contribute to or take away from the balanced, healthy life you desire. Take control. Incorporate more nature into your life. Organize and simplify. Feng Shui. Um, so Feng Shui is where you try to balance the energy in a room based on where things are placed. So Lopan is used to determine energy characteristics of a building or room, and you try to balance the energy. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Organizing your environment can save time. Again, when you know where things are, it's, you know, and you're not rifling through all your papers to find something. Healing places. Ancient Greeks worshiped the god of healing by building healing temples with cypress groves near the ocean. Ancient Egyptians decorated their healing places with murals because they believed murals helped patients maintain their interest in life. Individual workers and the tasks they perform for the purpose of designing appropriate living, working environments. Again, it makes workplaces safer and they enhance worker and worksite well-being. So having your keyboard at the right height to type, your screen at the right height so that your neck isn't in a weird crick, ergonomic chairs, ergonomic standing spaces, developing things such as power tools with ergonomic handles, all those things contribute to better health. Technology and constant flow of information from it need to be managed. Again, too much technology and information can be stressful. We become dependent upon technology. Incompetence. Again, people become so dependent that they quit using their mind for certain things that they used to use their mind for because they just rely on the technology to do it. It makes us anxious, you know, when we don't have it around, or if it's around us too much because we rely on it too much, or we, you know, feel like, oh, I got to check this, I got to check that. Frustration. Again, this computer that I'm running this off of frustrates me to no end because I hit the button and then I got to wait. Sometimes it doesn't move to the next slide, drives me crazy. The bandwidth in this building is horrible. So again, things go in and out, it drives me crazy because I have things to do. But yet we have now placed our jobs almost 100% online. So even more frustrating, right? Technosis, when people become so immersed in technology that they risk losing their own identity. Man, I think this has become reality. I know so many people that like they spend all their time online, and then when you try to talk to them in real person, man, they don't even know how to interact with people. You know, they can't do things in the real world. Their lives are online. You know, they don't know how to go on real dates or anything. So I just pushed the button. Oh, there it goes. All right. Are you a victim of technosis? So if you say yes or no to these, do you feel stressed if you haven't checked your voice or email within the last 12 hours? Do you think you can't cook a meal without technological gadgets? Do you become upset when you can't find an ATM for quick cash? Do you have difficulty writing? I don't think people use ATMs as much. I think most people just do their credit cards and stuff online. So that one's almost an outdated question now. Do you have difficulty writing unless you're sitting in front of your computer? Do you have a hard time determining when you're finished researching a topic on the internet? Google goes on forever. Do you feel less adequate than your highly technologized peers? Man, I can't talk today. Do you rely on pre-programmed systems to contact others, right? I used to have phone numbers memorized when I was a kid. Could call all my friends and family, had all the 7 digits memorized, right? And then since I got smartphone and I started entering those numbers in, there's very few numbers that I have memorized anymore. I definitely answer yes to a lot of these. Technology and stress. Cause and effects, continuous partial attention. We have conversations while we're looking at our phones. I've talked about this before in this class. I see people on dates and they're on their phones. They're not paying attention to each other. Multitasking madness. And again, I'm not trying to be sexist, but I'm gonna pick on you. You women tell us that, because guys, a lot of times, and I get this all the time, I'm told that I can do one thing at a time. I know I can do one thing at a time because I know if I'm doing one thing at a time, it's 100% into that thing. My wife says that she can do multiple tasking. She multitasks. Oh, no, I can do all these things and give it 100%. No, you cannot. There is actual studies that show if you are even doing 2 things, you are not giving 100% to 2 things. It is impossible. Okay? And the more multitasking you do, the more things get less percentage of attention to them. Okay? So there. All right. I've seen a lot of studies on this. And again, that's the thing. When I want to do something and do it correctly, I have to give 100%. And I know this, right? I know when I'm multitasking, I'm not going to do everything to the best of my ability. And nobody can, right? We're wired for distraction. We grow up in it. I see it with my kids. They're constantly looking at multiple things all at the same time, right? It's now in our DNAs. Information overload and continuous change. Geez, I mean, it's incredible what we have at the tips of our finger, at our fingertips nowadays. Lack of alone time, right? When people want to decompress, now they get on their social media, when a lot of times that causes them more stress. Alienation, isolation. We are now more attached to our technology than we are to our human interaction relationships. Physical consequences. Again, I see this. I see this even when, like when my wife and I are watching TV. We'll watch a movie or a show, and watching a show that we can't, because we're so used to having DVR and everything, but we're watching something that you can't fast forward through commercials. You know what she does during commercials? She actually gets on her Instagram. She is so overconnected, right? It's crazy. Changing times with instantaneous communication like text, tweets, Facebook, chat, Skype. Skype is kind of falling. Anybody checked on Skype lately? I think Zoom killed it, Teens are using emails. Man, I feel like an old person reading this thing. Using yeah, which is true. I mean, we still have to use it for school and things like that. But they have again, with Canvas and Facebook, you can communicate on there, but workplace we use email, so we still try to keep that one going. We almost could get away with in workplace if everybody had their telephone number. I mean, you could almost get away from it, to be honest. But yeah, again, even Facebook, I think people are more Instagram than Facebook, and then you got TikTok and everything else now. So we got to face reality. Facebook statistics, 757 million daily active users on average in December 2013. Users spent 20 billion minutes per day on Facebook in June of 2013. And again, I bet you Instagram is way higher than that now. Managing technology stress. Take a pro-humanity rather than anti-technology stance. Just because technology is capable of doing multiple jobs at the same time does not mean that we are. Right? We are not Google. We're not a smartphone. Right? Avoid techno cocoons. Don't get wrapped up into your technology. Right? So in conclusion, healing environment starts with you as a person And then from there, you got to create an environment that is less stressful. All right. So let's get out of this, if it'll let me. Maybe not. All right. Okay, so that's it for chapter 14. If you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you guys in chapter 15.